Hi, this is Postmedia's Wes Gilbertson here at the 2020/2021 Tokyo Olympics. I'm joined by Scott Stinson, who is also here in Tokyo, and we're here to chat a little women's soccer. Scott, I think millions of Canadians probably wanted to be exactly where you were the other night, and that was in the soccer stadium to watch the historic victory by Team Canada over the U.S. Maybe what was it like to be there? What was it like to witness that game?
Yeah, Wes, it was. It's a strange thing, as you know from covering any event here in Tokyo. The lack of fans, you get kind of used to it at times, and then there are times where you really notice that they're not there. And that was a good example of it because it was such an emotional, high intensity type game. It turned on a penalty call that those of us in the press box didn't see coming at all. It was one of those things that we didn't think was even, we thought it was a substitution, like a timeout for a substitution, and then we realized that they were reviewing it, and then there was a penalty, and like all this stuff is happening, and there's no crowd reaction at all. It would have been really interesting to see, I think, what the reactions were in those moments had there been a lot of fans in the stadium, particularly American fans. So that part was really strange, and then obviously when it was over, the scenes of the Canadians, enjoying it and being elated and exhausted and all that, that stuff's pretty cool. And they were all very emotional after the win, proud. They almost all of them talked about revenge from 2012, even though a lot of them were just kids when that game happened. So, yeah, it was of the things I've seen here in Tokyo over the couple of weeks we've been here. That one was certainly among the most emotional and compelling for the people involved.
You and I have talked so much about how the most impactful moments in so many ways are in the mix zone when you get a chance to talk to these athletes and hear them share their emotions. Like, what gave you that sense, or how could you tell just how significant this victory was to all those soccer players who have talked repeatedly about changing the color after back-to-back bronze medals?
Yeah, it was almost that they hadn't really sunk in for a number of them. Like, they were kind of stunned. And it was almost more noticeable for the American players because they were kind of funereal about the whole thing. And they also have some older players on their team, the Megan Rapinoes, the Carly Lloyds, who I think knew that this is the end of their career on the U.S. women's national team, which is among the most successful eras of an international soccer team that has existed. I mean, they've won 2 World Cups. They keep going back to the Olympic final, except for the last couple of years. So you really kind of got the sense from the Americans that they knew the significance of it. Megan Rapinoe had never lost to Canada before. And it was almost like the Canadians were kind of like dumbstruck that this had actually happened. So it was interesting to see that kind of leads to the next question of how are the Canadians going to react to this, because they kind of accomplished the thing that they've been trying to accomplish for 20 years, and now they still have one game to go to play for a gold medal. And it's one of those rare things in sports where you do the thing you've been trying to do for so long, but you actually haven't done the end result thing.
Scott, I think Canadians are getting to know all of these athletes right now, but the one name that we've all associated with the women's national soccer program for so long is Christine Sinclair, the greatest that I think our country has ever produced. In this specific sport, what would gold mean to Christine at this point in her career?
Yeah, she's an interesting one. Almost like she's the symbol of the entire team, where she's been trying to get past the United States for so long, and now has. And obviously, a gold medal would be, the capper to a brilliant international career. The thing that's interesting about Sinclair is she's been around playing for so long that she's kind of bridged the gap from when the Canadian women's national team was and also ran to a legitimate team that is now will win its 3rd Olympic medal. So it'll be huge for her. I have to say, I think regardless of what happens, even if it's a silver, for her to have a win over the United States on her resume now before she retires. I'm assuming this is it or close to it for her international career. So, in a way, like the team, she's already accomplished the one thing that they weren't able to do. So they'll be able to upgrade the medal. We'll see what happens. But if whatever happens, it's the one of those things that I'm sure when she looks back on and reflects, she'll be able to say, well, at least they finally did that. And she certainly noticed, that was the sense you got from her in the mix zone after, was a bit of relief that this thing had finally been done.
Let me just kind of wrap it up with this then. What do you expect Friday here in Tokyo during that gold medal game, and Thursday back home for everyone tuned in? What do you expect in these final 90 minutes out of Team Canada?
I wish I knew. It's funny. I'm like trying to write that today, and it's like I have no idea what this team's going to do. Theoretically, they're playing with house money, and they should just go out and be adventurous and take the game to Sweden and do all those things that you would theoretically do when you have nothing to lose anymore. But they've also been a team that I think their success in this tournament is basically about being conservative and being organized and not giving up a lot of chances. So if they go into the game with that kind of a mindset, I think there's a decent chance that you're looking at another kind of low event nail biter sort of game where you get into a second half and it probably turns on one play. So we'll see what happens. I think they will be, playing free and easy. They certainly did that for a good chunk of the first half against the United States, but it might also be a case where they realize like the sense of the moment in front of them, and that gives them reason to pause a little. So we'll see. One thing I'll say, it's going to be really hot, so we'll see how that affects them.
All right, well, Scott and I will be there sweating at the stadium. I can't even imagine running around for 90-plus minutes in this Tokyo heat. We can't even type properly, but thanks for joining us for Postmedia here in Tokyo. This is Wes Gilbertson and Scott Stinson.
Thanks, Wes.